What's up, Kabroda crew? Welcome in. Thanks for joining today back on the live stream. Checking us out, see what we're doing. Had a little bit of a down run yesterday after, we kind of came into, after the live stream actually is pretty much when it happened. Had one or two candles and then we ended up dropping out pretty good, and then came back up and mostly ran sideways for the rest of the day, coming into today, where we kind of dropped down a little bit. I guess that really happened kind of last night, dropped down into this morning, and now we're sitting around that 64,800 levels, so a little bit down from yesterday, but not anything too crazy for Bitcoin especially. So yeah, a little bit of a drop down there, but nothing crazy. Kind of what the system called, really. We said it was looking more for an uptrade, but it did say that it was going to probably run sideways, which is basically what we did. After that little bit of a down run, we did run mostly sideways throughout the rest of the day. So I guess you could have taken a little bit of money maybe there. Maybe. I don't even know if it was anything significant. Yeah, you could take a little money. But mostly it just ran sideways. There was really nothing for us in there. Yeah, now we're down here on the bottom. Kind of broke down a little bit. So we'll see what ends up happening here as we go and jump into the rest of the day. Looks like we have a couple people here. Looks like Terry's here, so good morning, Terry. Good morning, Kathleen. Thanks for joining. Hello to y'all. Good morning. Thanks for joining it. Like I said, helps the live stream go when y'all are here. If y'all wouldn't mind hitting that like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification if you want to catch us tomorrow. Like I said, though, yeah, we had a little bit of a drop, so we're just gonna have to see what's gonna happen today. We do have a beast mode candle kind of forming down here on the 15 minutes, so it's looking like bottom here. Yesterday we kind of, no, that was 2 days ago. We saw that top there kind of forming with the beast mode candle forming on the top side. Now we're seeing the opposite, bottom side beast mode, so could see a little drop out maybe today before we go back to the upside. Typically when you see the beast mode happen, you'll see another drop before we move to the upside. Excuse me. So just looking at basic TA, that's kind of what we're seeing. Moving averages are still stacked to the downside. The 9 here is looking to cross that 21, so that could happen here pretty soon, but we'll have to just wait and see what happens. We are below the 2200 too, so that does put us in more of a bearish mood, but we'll see what happens. I'm going to go grab the levels here. We'll throw them on the chart, see where we're at, see what those kind of tell us, see if anything's a little different, and then we'll go from there. So head on over here to Kabroda.com. You can see today BTC sitting around that 64,668 level, 63 level. So I mean, that's just the price that it grabbed whenever it opened this morning, or whenever this thing turned on. So pretty close to price action. Bearish with a 4 to 5 indicators going off, so pretty bearish today. Right now we're building, and the jewel is aligned with the top side, I believe, is what this it being green means. And then the call out is a stand down for today. You got your breakout level here, breakdown level right there. You can go ahead and grab those if you want. We're just going to go ahead and copy the triggers and head back to TradingView here and throw them into our chart. There we go. All right, so here's today's levels. You can see we have our breakout level up here in green. 30-minute range is where it's sitting right now, and then you have our breakdown level here in purple. We do have our daily support inside of the two triggers, so that's pretty interesting for price action. Typically what you'll see is that When you see that, you'll do have a pretty nice downside move, or pretty, I guess if it's the opposite where your daily resistance is inside and you're closer to your breakout range, then you're probably going to see more of an upside trade. So today, definitely looking like a downside trade. We got that 30-minute range real nice and close to the breakdown range, and then we have price action kind of trading pretty close to that. So I would say, you know, overall we're looking more like a breakdown today. Do have a top side up here with the 200 sitting right at the breakout line, so not too much interesting there. There's a lot of resistance right there kind of happening. You see this yellow line here, that is another resistance that's there, so definitely a lot of resistance kind of forming right there on that level. Daily resistance is even pretty close to the breakout, so we're not too interested in taking that taking along today. Probably definitely looking more short, looking like we're going to break down and see some downside today. Yeah, we'll see what happens, like I said. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Yeah, it is interesting. The jewel is firing off, so looking pretty good for the upside on the jewel. You're seeing all the moving averages curl. You're seeing that blue line, another moving averages, but it's a smaller one, so you're seeing a lot more movement in it. But you can see it curling up to the upside as well, kind of firing off. All the other ones are slowly following it, so definitely looking good for the upside move here on the jewel. You're seeing that bottoming indicator there. Not to say, you know, we couldn't kind of turn here at this Fibonacci level here on the jewel. See that blue line turn, come back down. We'll see some price action drop out, possibly break our bottom level and drop down a little bit before we see the breakout, or before we see the price kind of roll over and show us the break off to the upside. Looks like Spirit Maker just joined us, so good morning, Spirit Maker. Thanks for joining. Yeah, overall that's what we're looking at here. Those are the kind of setups coming into it. Yeah, that's kind of the whole setup there. That's what we're looking at. Got about 6 minutes before this close here. Yesterday was 50-50. Now 1 hour is rolling bearish. It looks like 4 hours going to follow. Yeah, yeah, we were talking about that yesterday, how the different indicators were kind of conflicting with each other. Today they're definitely still conflicting, but you can see, like Spirit Maker saying, that they're starting to kind of align on the bearish side. So we'll see what happens. I mean, even as the TA that I'm kind of going through, you can see there's a lot of confliction in it still. But if the other higher time frames start rolling over like that, we could see some downside. The other thing to note too on the jewel, you know, I said this base mode is typically a sign of the downside. It's not always a perfect one. So if we roll back here a little bit, you can see it's the same here for the upside. So you can see we fired a beast mode candle right here. We did have a little bit of downside after that, but after that we still continued to rise up another, I don't know, what was this? So 64.300 all the way up to 64.7. So we did rise up a little bit before we ended up breaking down, not even really that much, and then we took off to the upside again. So it's not always a full-on like, oh, this is the top, you might as well short it and take a long trade to the downside. There's still a lot of room for it to go up. You can see that even here on the green. Typically, the bottoming calls are actually, I guess, less accurate. They just take a lot longer to kind of play out. So, I mean, we bottomed here, we bottomed here, we bottomed here, and then we bottomed here, and it didn't even turn around until we got to this point. So, it's more of an indicator that we're starting to see the bottom. We're starting to see price action kind of get low where there's a possibility of it turning. and it's time to look for a possible flip on the market. And typically you'll see, other indicators kind of come into that, and they'll all kind of work together to show that it is in fact bottoming. Right now though, like I said, we are showing that on the 15-minute, but we haven't really seen that very much anywhere else. Let's go ahead and check out our daily market brief today. So head back here to Kabroda.com, open up our mission cockpit. You can see we're in a stand down today. We have the gate open, but it is like the gate open. It's a bearish signal. It is strong, but there's divergence detected, so there's possible reversal signal, which we've been seeing for a couple weeks now. There's that divergence warning, basically, is what it's calling out. And we'll jump into it. It'll break down a little bit more, but there's more than that going into that. Yeah, it works better with beast mode on the longer time frames. Yeah, for 15 minutes, hard to call the bottom like that. The longer out you get, the better beast mode's going to be, because it's going to get harder and harder for beast mode to actually like set up. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. All right, so for the analysis brief, today we're in a bear wave 4 bounce still. We got that 13.7% completion on that from the 60,055 level, wave 3 low with the structural ceiling at 80,632. I'm gonna grab a drink real fast. All right, price is at that 65,736. VRVP POC is still grinding through the early bracket of this corrective advance inside a daily and weekly bearish macro time framework. It's not a new bull leg. Every session between that 60,055 and 80,632 is a counter trend bounce, and when price eventually reaches that 80,632, wave 4 termination signals and wave 5 confirmation will be the primary setup. A weekly close above that 80,632 invalidates the labeled bear sequence entirely and requires a full macro engine rerun. So basically what it's saying is that we might move up today, might move down today. That doesn't mean that we're flipping now all of a sudden to a long longer term outlook. So we're not gonna all of a sudden flip and say, oh, the bulls are controlling this thing, we're gonna just rip to 100 and whatever K. We're not saying that until we get that break of that 80,632 level. We're not going to say that we broke that level, and we're still in the Elliott wave, wave 5 that we've been talking about, or wave 4, I guess technically is what we're still in. And then if we do break that 60,055 level, that will confirm that we are going into wave 5, and we'll continue down to that 45,000, 50,000 level that we have been talking about. Today's energy. So for today's energy, the 4-hour is labeled bullish, but firing with a negative momentum. Flat ADX at 21.96, and the Joule is extended. The engine is running on fumes, not fuel. The 1-hour has flipped bearish with the ADX rising at 23.73. Confirming corrective pressure is accelerating, not stabilizing. 15-minute is overextended with an active exit warming. TF coherence is 1 out of 5 bullish. So we have a 4 out of 5 bearish indicators, and we have 1 out of 5 bullish. Essentially the 4-hour and 1-hour conflicting, just like we were just saying, just like Spirit Maker just brought up a second ago. Looks like 4-hour can flip 2 here pretty soon. It's just right now it is still trying to go bullish, so we'll see what happens. We do need that to flip though to kind of confirm that we are in fact going to continue in that bearish trend, kind of get the wind at our back like we were talking about yesterday, and continue to the downside. All right, why are we standing down today? So there's two conditions that kind of go into this. The 4-hour momentum is negative with the Joule extended. That means the histogram is fading, not building. 50-minute cinematic rate is overextended with an active exit warming, and the 4-hour has fully flipped bearish with a rising ADX. Multi-time frame execution across every actionable time frame. I guess there's a third condition to it. It just didn't want to throw in there. So condition 3, fires currently on the short side. All 3 short targets collapsed onto a signal heavy wall at 64,283, sitting at 39% below the breakdown trigger. A choke target that cannot cover spread and delivering meaningful return. Additionally, the performance auditor managed to stand down on all setups for chop risk or compromise. Multi-timeframe energy produced 0 correct directional calls across 6 recent sessions. The system does not approve marginal setups while the accuracy baseline is unrestored. Alright. Yeah, that's kind of a mouthful to say. We're standing down because basically it's going to be choppy today. It's not looking too great. There's not a lot of confirmation, and things are kind of fighting against each other like we were just talking about. Structural landscape. So we have a breakdown trigger, breakout trigger. You can go ahead and pause the video and grab these two if you're looking to throw those on your chart. But we're going to move on. Price is sitting below or inside the 30-minute range box, which is what we were just talking about a second ago. It's actually broken out of that since then. We're seeing a little bit of upside here with the predator candle closing actually above it, and now we're kind of sitting right up there. So we're out of the 30-minute range a little bit. 30-minute range is this dashed yellow box here, or orange box, depending on I guess what color you want it to be, but yellowish orange box. It's kind of sitting right outside of that. That would be our 30-minute range. So we are a little bit out of it. That's below the VRVP POC at 65,736 with the SSE structural lean short at a negative 0.77 confidence. Trapped beneath the volume area high and the volume area low. No directional resolution on either side. What would change this? So the session becomes tradable as the long side when the 1 hour flips bullish with positive momentum, and the 15-minute systematic raid reads primed rather than overextended. Currently the 1 hour is bearish with an accelerating ADX, and the 15-minute exit warning is active. Short setup requires 15 minutes to reset from overextended to prime, and the breakdown trigger from 64,534 to hold as resistance on a retest, but the choke target condition. All 3 short targets collapsed into a single heavy wall at 64,283. Only 8.39% of travel cannot be resolved by energy improvement alone, and structurally disqualifies the short measure move regardless of momentum state. So essentially, we could technically get a trade here today if we do get the 15 minutes to kind of reset up and get ready for a breakdown here. We could see the breakdown happen a little bit. However, the heavy wall that it's kind of throwing up right now with a lot of support kind of throwing in here at 64,283. If we go ahead and mark that off right here, 64,283 is right there. So really what it's saying is that we're not going to make enough of a profit to actually take this trade. If we're getting in there on the breakdown, you're only going to make a 0.4, so not really worth taking the trade. It's not going to drop down enough, and it could break through this and continue down. You could see a pretty decent drop after that. However, this level is pretty strong, so taking a trade and knowing that you might not get down below that, or you could even see a breakdown to here, kind of bounce off of it, come back up and hit your stop out if you're not already out there. It's just it's not really worth the risk is basically what's happening. So even if we were to get that short kind of coming in today, it's not really worth taking. All right, now what's the other side? So there's no trade issued from either side today, but the long has structurally clean airspace to 67,585 through that 70,553. The multi-timeframe energy is too compromised to support any target beyond target 1, and the 15-minute exit warning with the 1 hour bearish flip means entry above that 66,059 fires into exhausted fuel with elevated stop pick off probability at that 30-minute low. So basically, I guess we'll read the rest of it now. I'll tell you. The short direction is structurally disqualified. T1, T2, and T3 all terminated at 64,283. Heavy wall at 0.39% below the breakdown trigger, providing no measurable reward and no valid trade premises. When energy resets and the 1 hour realigns with the 4 hour structure label, the long re-engagement above that 66,059 with a clear 15-minute primed read is the primary opportunity to monitor. So, we're looking for that long mainly because the return is actually a lot better. What's actually going to happen though is probably more of a short is what the whole system is kind of leaning towards. However, the short that is going to happen, not going to be great. So more or less really sideways day is kind of what it's going to call. If we do get that break up to the upside, it is saying we do have some clean space all the way up to 60,585. So we could have a little bit of a run to the upside. Basically the target that we were talking about the other day, with a little bit of a run, just a little bit above the previous top here. So around there. Can you see it? There you go. Around right there. So we could have a little bit of upside movement here today, but we're just gonna have to watch price action and see. With the breakout to the upside, we'll see what happens. Again, the system is not calling either of the trades. The system is saying that it's time to stand down today. It's another call for the stand down again. Seems like we have a lot of those lately, but the market has been pretty conflicting lately, so we do not want to be jumping in the way of two rivers kind of crashing together at the same time. I'd rather kind of stand out of the way, let the rivers hit each other, and then see which way the stream starts flowing after that. And then we can kind of jump in and move along with the stream there. Yeah, not looking too interesting here for either trade, really. Like I said, though, to note, it does look like we are going to get the downside just based off of the lines and stuff like that. Even the Kabroda System was actually calling the downside too, more than the top side, really. So more than likely, I would say we break down. Maybe we don't break down that far. That level is right down here, 64,283, I think. Yeah, 283, right down here. Right there somewhere, right around there. So not too much farther to the downside really we can break, but I would say that's probably more likely than a break to the upside and coming to take out this previous high here, especially with the fact that we are in more of a micro downtrend right here. You can see we have our higher high here, lower high, higher high, lower high, higher high right there, and then a breakdown to a lower high there. And now we're coming back up a little bit. What are we going to do? Probably just create another little higher high here, or lower high here, and then a lower low there. So we'll see what happens. Definitely looking like a downtrend. You can see the trend is kind of playing out like that, something like that. What would kind of flip that is we would have to come back up, clear this high, which actually would be pretty close to the breakout level. If we cleared that breakout level, we'd be kind of starting into a reversal, I guess, on the 15-minute at least of the pattern that's been kind of happening here on the trend. But we'll see. So really, overall, that would probably set the new trend. That would kind of set the reversal there. But would we have enough to go up to that 67,500 level? I don't know. Seems like a pretty high level to me, especially with how exhausted the market kind of has been, especially when we broke up to that level the first time. Plus, this level is kind of a sort of resistance right here with the previous downtrend, I guess, here that we were kind of in for a while, a little longer term, but we're in this downtrend. You can see that there's a level around that 67,500 level that we would have to break to kind of flip into more of a reversal trend, like I was saying, just for longer term. And if we break above that, then that would be good. But like I said, that is a major resistance point, just because that's how it is. That's what it kind of set up there. So that'd be something we'd want to be mindful of, even if we do start to get that long. That'd be something to be watching for. You can see some rejection at that point. Even here, really, right where we kind of rejected the other day. I believe that's Monday. Kind of rejected there. It'd just be a level to watch. Let's go check out the longer time frames. We haven't really been out there in a while. Kind of see what's going on with them. I think it's been since last week or so. So let's see what they're going. Got a new candle on the weekly here. Let's see. So we kind of are getting a little bounce off of the 200 here on the weekly. Definitely still looking like we are in that possible wave 5. Like I said, we do need to break that 60,055 level before we can confirm that we are in fact in that bear wave 5. Right now we're still technically in bear wave 4, so we do have the ability to come up as long as we don't break above the top of wave 2. So around that 80, actually it's a little bit, it's below that, around 80,000 something. So haven't really gotten up there yet though. So as long as we don't come back up and clear that level, then we should be good. We should be able to continue down to bear wave 5 around that 45,000 to 50,000 level. Our AI or our Kabroda systems even calling a little lower, calling around that 42,000, 45,000. So could see even lower than what I've been saying, around that 45 to 50,000. It kind of depends on what happens. Typically, you can throw targets all you want. Typically, you'll see price actually kind of bounce like right before the target that everybody would think would happen. We'll see. Could also be, bouncing here at 60,000. We're not going to throw that out the window. It's just until we confirm that by breaking above that 80,000 level that we've been talking about. Definitely going to continue down below to that 50,000 level. So we need a confirmation really either way. So you either need to break down below that 60,000 level or break up above that 80,000 level. Until that, we're still in this wave 4 really trend of what's happening. But honestly, looking at the longer time frames, we really have not broken up that much. Really haven't even fired that much out of the bottom that we kind of created here. If you want to get aggressive, you could say, we did break that level by that wick here. And we kind of did, but we didn't really close down below there. We do need to close to really confirm it. If you're, more of aggressive kind of trader, you could say, okay, that's the wick there. So we are going to continue down. We'll see. We're thinking that's probably correct, but we would like to see that confirmation of the close below. That would mean we do need to break our weekly 200, which is probably going to be some pretty big resistance right there. Moving down, we'll go to the daily now. Looking at the daily, you can see we are in a downtrend here, micro downtrend, I guess, from the overall downtrends that we've been talking about on the weekly. So you're seeing a little bit of downtrend on price action. You gotta do a little mark here. Whoops. Something like this. So the downtrend line kind of forming there. Seeing that downtrend happen, we do need, if we want to see the flip here on the downtrend, we're going to need to come back up and break this level here at 74,290. So pretty decent little run up, basically breaking through our 55 here on the daily. Not very likely, honestly. Definitely looking like we're kind of topping right there, and we're going to continue down to the downside. But who knows? That's just looking at the micro trend right there and seeing, okay, we're going to break down on the downside. It's not really a 100% valid call. There's nothing really behind that, so we'll see what happens. Right now we're starting to break down, so the question is, are we going to continue? If we break below this low here again, which would be kind of the 60,000 level really that we've been talking about, if we get below that, then we'll probably see continuation down, just within looking at the daily. We do have stacked moving averages to the downside. We are above the 9 right now, so in terms of rebuilding some structure for the bull side, that's looking pretty decent. We would need to kind of get above this 221 and then continue climbing up until we get above the 200 to see that continue. But it kind of looks like we got above that 9 and then we rejected off the 21, which is typically something you'll see when it pulls back before we drop down even farther again. So I don't know. We'll see what happens as price moves on. This is the daily, so new candle every day. Kind of slower chart, definitely a longer time frame. So definitely looking like some drop down here. 4 hour looking more or less the same. We do have the moving averages kind of stacked a little bit differently. Had a little bit of a fire here on the 4 hour. It went a little bullish, and now we're seeing that trend start to flip a little bit like we were talking about earlier. 1 hour should be more bearish than that. We'll see. 1 hour is kind of creating a bearish trend here, starting to see that kind of start to form within the 1 hour. We are actually above our 21 though on the 1 hour, or 200, sorry. We're above our 200 on the 1 hour, so looking pretty good for the bulls right now with that happening. The moving averages are starting to kind of roll over. You can see we fired through the, we fired here with the 9 and the 21 crossing the 55. Those are all kind of stacked to the downside, but we still are above that 200 overall. So we'll need to see a breakdown below that before the 1 hour can kind of, overall flip bearish, just looking at the moving averages. In terms of trend, we are looking pretty bearish here on the 1 hour after this top here. We're starting to see lower highs and lower lows set as we continue down. Again, on the 1 hour, we would have to get above our breakout line to kind of see that reversal of trend. But overall, looking like downside today. So I don't know. We'll see what happens as the day goes on. Definitely could see a breakout of the downside. Again, that 64,200 level is a big number there for support. So we don't really want to be taking trades because there's a big resistance point right there. So just kind of hard to take a trade to the downside when you know that there could be some resistance right below you. Yeah, overall probably more sideways day, kind of, again, staying down day. That's really what the system is calling. So yeah, thank you all for joining. That was kind of our breakdown of the market for today. Really nothing happening again. Sorry that it's not anything too exciting for y'all, but hopefully that helps y'all kind of look at the market in a new light, kind of see what's going on, see it from a different perspective. Maybe y'all learned something. I don't know. Leave a like if you did though. Really helps our channel grow, get out there. Helps us, get the word out to more people, get people's brains flowing, get their trading eyes kind of going on, so they can kind of see what's going on and see how to trade. Yeah. We'll be back again tomorrow, 8:30 again. 8:30 a.m. CST. So if you guys are interested in joining, just make sure you figure out what that time is for your time zone. If you're not here in Texas or central, in the central time zone of Northern America. Yeah, that's about it. thanks for joining. We'll catch y'all tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. CST. If you guys have any questions or anything, just make sure you throw them in the chat. We'll try to get back to you as best we can. Other than that, yeah, enjoy y'all's day today. Again, staying down, so don't have to worry too much about anything trading wise today. Just kind of enjoy the day. Maybe get outside, enjoy the sun. I think we're supposed to have like a pretty big heat wave rolling in here with a temp of like 110 or something like that. So could be a pretty crazy little day today. Could be pretty hot. So we'll see what happens. Again, thanks for joining though. We'll catch y'all tomorrow. Happy trading, y'all. See y'all then.